Earlier this month, the first migrants were flown from the U.S. to Guantanamo Bay. President Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem say that the detention camp there, an extremely expensive endeavor for an administration seeking to cut costs, would hold the worst of the worst: drug dealers, gang members, and those accused of committing violent crimes. But ABC News has spoken with the families of two migrants who say they're being held there despite not having a criminal record.
We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people. And we think it's going to be extremely successful. Never been done before or anything like this, but it's something that we're going to be putting out. The age of America begins right now.
A federal effort to crack down on immigration is affecting more than just those without documentation.
We're now learning what it could mean for green card holders with criminal records. WRO's Carly Haynes spoke with a Durham woman whose husband was arrested by ICE last week and could now be deported.
So I'm going to ask if it's possible to have Elon get up first and talk about DOGE. And so we have a mandate to get elected based on taxes and based on many things in the border, but also based on balancing budgets and getting our country back into shape. And this is a big part of it. Do this, and this is part of the reason I got elected. I got elected with a tremendous vote, winning every swing state, winning the popular vote.
President Donald Trump's administration announcing today a national register for undocumented migrants. The Department of Homeland Security said the move was an effort to enforce the country's immigration laws.
So it's a flawed, expensive, bureaucratic system that started in 1952. It has phased in and out. It was phased in during 9/11 and then phased out again because it's expensive and really led to no results in national security. So as we've even seen from the National Registry, they don't know how they're going to roll it out. There's no announcement exactly how people are going to register and how they're going to be able to capture so many fingerprints and at what cost that is to the American public.
So this blueprint has $4.5 trillion worth of tax cuts over the next decade. It would, prolong the Trump tax cuts from 2017, which are set to expire at the end of this year. And it would add to the deficit. The federal spending cuts that it calls for are in the range of $2 trillion. And it isn't entirely clear what is going to be cut. That's what's going to obviously be the biggest problem here.
What we're doing, I got elected with a tremendous vote, winning every swing state, winning the popular vote, winning the counties by thousands of counties. I think it was 2,800 to 500. 2,800 counties to 500 counties. Think of that. Part of it. So Elon, if you could get up and explain where you are, how you're doing, and how much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have you.
Those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste.
Mr. President. I actually just call myself a humble tech support here because this is actually, as crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work that the DOGE team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. So for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, knock on my wooden head, there's got a lot of wood up there, that we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. That we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, knock on my wooden head, there's got a lot of wood up there, that we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. Is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt now exceeds the Defense Department spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department. but we're spending like over $1 trillion.
That final vote, 217 to 215, with several GOP lawmakers voting against the plan for President Trump's agenda.
If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt.
Likely, President Trump pressured House Republican holdouts to fall in line and support the resolution. It includes a $4.5 trillion in tax breaks and $2 trillion more in spending cuts. But a number of House lawmakers from the president's party opposed that measure, saying it will add to the budget deficit. Other Republicans have concerns about potential cuts to programs like Medicaid.
And obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. And to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the receipts. So people.
President Trump pressured House Republican holdouts to fall in line and support the resolution.
But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day, every day, from now through the end of September.
Bloated and fat and disgusting.
President Trump pressured House Republican holdouts to fall in line and support the resolution. It includes a $4.5 trillion in tax breaks.
Bloated and fat and disgusting.
But we can do it, and we will do it. Literally.
And $2 trillion more in spending cuts. But a number of House lawmakers from the president's party opposed that measure, saying it will add to the budget deficit. Other Republicans have concerns about potential cuts to programs like Medicaid.
And President Trump has put together, I think, the best cabinet ever. Literally, the best cabinet ever.
President Trump pressured House Republican holdouts to fall in line and support the resolution.
And President Trump has put together, I think, the best cabinet ever. And President Trump has put together. Bloated and fat and disgusting. Literally. Bloated and fat and disgusting. This is an incredible group of people. I don't think that such a talented team has actually ever been assembled. I think it's literally the best cabinet that the country's ever had. Literally.
Who does the director of the FBI work for, Mr. Patel?
Senator, thank you for that question. The immediate report for the director of the FBI is into the Office of the Deputy Attorney General. Then that report is taken into the Office of the Attorney General and ultimately the White House and the chain of command there.
So the FBI works for the White House?
No, the FBI is a member of the Department of Justice and has been the long-standing application.
And who does the Department of Justice work for?
They're in the executive branch, as all members do at the White House.
Attorney General Bondi gave a different answer when I asked her the same question, that they work for the Constitution and the American people. President.
And we bring the receipts. So people the receipts. So people
bloated and fat and disgusting.
The receipts. So people and we bring
bloated and fat and disgusting.
The receipts. So people. But we can do it, and we will do it. The receipts. So people. And President Trump has put together, I think, the best cabinet ever.
That they work for the Constitution and the American people.
Roughly 1 million employees have responded so far to this email. Does that mean that the remaining 1 million or so federal employees now risk being terminated? And is it your understanding and expectation when you post a directive on X that the cabinet secretaries will follow that order? Because several agencies have instructed employees that this is voluntary or not to respond.
I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, knock on my wooden head, got a lot of wood up there. I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, knock on my wooden head, literally. Got a lot of wood up there. Literally. Got a lot of wood up there.
That they work for the Constitution and the American people.
Most of the cuts are aimed at programs that are like social safety nets, Medicaid, and this is going to be a problem for the Republicans. They only had a very narrow majority to pass this in the House. Everyone but one Republican ended up voting for it. But when it goes to the Senate, you're also going to it's going to get some changes, and those changes are also going to be pushed back around these cuts because many of these people come from districts or areas that have quite a few constituents who are on Medicaid or who receive food assistance or other programs or benefit from other programs to help the poor and the disabled that come from the government.
Now, maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people that don't exist. Don't forget, we just got here. This group just got here. But those people are on the bubble, as they say. You know, maybe they're going to be gone. Maybe they're not around. Maybe they have other jobs. Maybe they moved and they're not where they're supposed to be. A lot of things could have happened. I wouldn't say that Biden ran a very tight administration. They spent money like nobody's ever spent money before. I want to move education back to the states where it belongs. Iowa should have education. Indiana should run their own education. You're going to see education go way up. Right now, we're ranked at the very bottom of the list. And I hate to say this, and you know, we're going to get along very well with China, but it's a competitor. They're at the top of the list. They're among the top 10 because we're a very big country too. But we were ranked last time under Biden. We were ranked 40 out of 40. They do the 40 certain nations that they've done for a long time. I spoke with Lee Zeldin, and he thinks he's going to be cutting 65% or so of the people from environmental, and we're going to speed up the process too. At the same time, you had a lot of people that weren't doing their job; they were just obstructionists, and a lot of people that didn't exist. I guess, Lee, too. We found a lot of empty spots. The people weren't there. They didn't exist. Precise it's going to be. We're cutting down government. We're cutting down the size of government. We have to. We're bloated. We're sloppy.
Likely,
we have
President Trump pressured House Republican holdouts to fall in line and support the resolution. It includes a $4.5 trillion in tax breaks.
We have a lot of people that don't exist. You look at Social Security as an example. I mean, you have so many people in Social Security where, if you believe it, they're 200 years old. They all know. We want to balance a budget. We want to have a balanced budget within a reasonably short period of time, meaning maybe by next year or the year after, but maybe even sooner.
Because many of these people come from districts or areas that have quite a few constituents who are on Medicaid or who receive food assistance or other programs or benefit from other programs to help the poor and the disabled that come from the government.
Bloated and fat and disgusting. Bloated and fat and disgusting. And I'll be there with you.